right. Keep Slido open. Keep upvoting things, asking questions as they come to you. This is a democratic process. There might be democratic backsliding around the world, not here. So please, upvote the ones that you would like answered. Okay, I'll start with the top. I'll also welcome Liv to the stage, Assistant Minister.
So good to have Liv up here.
Toby's been introduced and had his time, but here's Liv. Great. So Toby and Liv are going to be answering these questions. I'll start with the top one. It says, a woman has entrusted herself to a man in marriage. What do you do when the man does not lead spiritually or pray or encourage her in the faith?
Do you have thoughts on that?
Looks like you're going to turn to where I'm about to mention.
Then you do it.
Which is that Paul is pretty clear that the woman who stays with her unbelieving husband and lives a godly life and doesn't malign the gospel with the way that she loves and lives actually has the most incredible witness and has the power to convert him, to save her unbelieving husband. So there is so much agency and incredible power in that relationship, as difficult as it would be to be married to an unbeliever as a woman. What we do see is the encouragement to love her husband, to show him Christ, because he could be saved.
Yeah, and I think just the attitude there, the danger is that you become resentful, bitter, cynical, nagging, and that kind of thing. And just the number of passages there that we look at in the Bible for the women is, your words are very important, and you speak with respect, and you can't control him, nor can a husband control his wife, nor should we try. You accept who they are, and you just get on with loving them. And you ask for what you would like. Hey, it'd be great for us to pray tonight. It'd be great for us to go to church together. And if he doesn't, you don't nag, you don't harangue, you don't lecture. And that goes both ways. Yeah.
I think as well, we've been speaking a lot about relationships and family and how we relate to one another. And I think this situation, which does exist, makes it even more important that when we walk into this church, we recognise that we belong to one another, that younger women are our sisters, that older women are our mothers, that younger men are our brothers, and we treat each other like that. We pray, we encourage in the faith, we read together, we spur one another on, we love, we serve each other, because in that way we're living out our identity as a family of believers, which is how the Bible regularly says we're to keep going. Yeah. The only way we can keep going is if we encourage one another. So if you have friends who are married to an unbeliever, consider it a huge part of helping them is to encourage them in the faith and to pray for them, to pray with them, because that's what we're to do as family. It's to, love each other as a body, love each other as a family.
Yeah, helpful. Next question. These are very sensitive topics to most of us. What have you done to ensure extra grace and care over these 3 weeks? And if you haven't, why should we listen?
Can I speak to it? Yeah. Thank you for this question. You're right, these are very sensitive topics. I'll speak as a congregation member and as someone on the staff team and as a woman as well. I think there are a couple of kind of pragmatic things that as a staff team we've wanted to put in place. The first is a kind of robust 4-week community group study where we hope that there is real opportunity for prayer, for discipleship, for sitting under the word together, and to do that in community group where you have strong existing relationships. The second is that a few weeks ago we trialled having a time of prayer with some staff after the service, and we'll be doing that next week and potentially the week after, given the content and material that we're going to be covering. We see prayer as one of the primary ways that we support care and look after one another spiritually. So that's available. And we want you to know as well that after any week, you are completely welcome and encouraged to approach any member of staff to ask for prayer or to receive prayer. We would love to serve you in that way.
And
with each other.
Yeah.
Importantly.
Yeah. Because we are the way we care for one another. It's not just the staff whose job it is to care. Like, we need to be a church that everyone's caring for one another. Yeah.
The final thing I'll say is that when we approach these topics, I know for myself, a lot of the things that I read about what God says to me as a woman, it can grate against me. I went to an all-girls school for 13 years and I grew up believing I'm a strong, independent woman and I don't need no man. I can do everything that I can be everything I want. And so when I read about some of the order and structure and design that God has built into men and women, it can grate against me. And I find it hard to come humbly before God. And so with these topics, as sensitive as these issues are, can I encourage us, it's not just Toby up here spouting what he thinks. It's Toby giving us an opportunity to all sit under what God says on these topics through his word. And it's really important that when we walk in, as hard as these topics are to engage with, that we, as Job says, bow our small heads at some of the hard things we find, and we listen to what the God of the universe, the Creator, our Heavenly Father, has to say to us on these topics. So thank you for that question. And as a staff team, we are praying for you as well, that as we come together each week, we'll have hearts that are soft, ready to hear, ready to learn, ready to be challenged, ready to be changed.
And couple of other things, we've got Liv on the panel, very wise, thank you. Next week we've got Emily Fang, who is a neonatal paediatrician. What is she? I always forget. And she's got experience in artificial reproductive technology and abortion, so that she lives in that world. So we're going to have her up next week as well.
And maybe, Toby, just a chance for you to reflect on the care you've taken in prepping for preaching as well.
Done a lot of work. Still am.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is there a reason why you chose a married man and woman to represent the godly man and woman? Are we only godly if married?
Can you just read it again?
Yeah, is there a reason why you chose a married man and woman to represent the godly man and woman? And we only godly?
I just was looking at our photo bank, and they were the best, kind of most discreet photos I had of I was trying to get a couple of men together and a couple of women together, and then I was. The things I go to, guys, I spent about an hour trying to find photos last night because I'm like, would that person want to be featured as the godly woman? And so I ended up just picking MTS or student ministers' wives who can't complain. But no, that was not intentional that they were just married men or married women in that photo. I assume is that the question?
I think so. I'll just speak to the other part, which might be the list of characteristics that you listed in godly man and godly woman. Some of those in the list referred to how a married man or father might relate to his spouse or children, and how a married woman or mother might relate. I think you were just putting together a comprehensive list single men and single women aren't excluded from that list, but as appropriate given their differing relationships, that's what godliness looks like.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, last question for time, not because we've exhausted all the questions. It says, what does it look like practically to have a visible presentation of our gender as we come to church? I think picking up on how you mentioned that, Toby, towards the beginning of the sermon.
Do you have thoughts? Well, I'll say my thing, and then I'm interested in what you have to say. I think fundamentally we mustn't be like the Bible doesn't micromanage us here. It doesn't say this is the length of your hair that it needs to be, this is the length of your dress. That doesn't do that. The Bible's more interested in your heart, which is what is in your heart. Like, do you come to church joyfully female or joyfully male? And then from that therefore you express yourself in those ways. Or do you come to church resenting the gender, the sexed body you're in, and seeking to either confuse it or deny the expression of that? And I think that's just where it needs to start, is do you love being a man? Do you love being a woman? And as we relate to one another, are we relating as men and as women to one another? Or do we deny that gendered fact of our creation and just live in a more androgynous way? So my concern is just the heart. Your heart's are, no, this is who I am and I'm to relate that way. And then the clothing will follow, I think. It's similar to the don't wear elaborate hairstyles, no jewelry. It's not saying you can't wear jewelry. It's just saying a person who is insecure, they will give themselves to that to prove their worth. But a person who's secure in Christ, they're on about building a gentle and quiet spirit. And so it's the heart that God's going after, because the actions flow from the heart. Yeah, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's so much in the way we're called to behave that isn't gendered, so to speak. Like fruit of the Spirit, it's not that women are to be some of the fruit and men are to be some of the other fruit. We're all to display the fruit of the Spirit. But I think there is something about our genderedness and our biology that means when we come to church, if we're deliberately out of a hatred for our bodies or out of a desire to obscure or hide it, if we're obscuring our maleness or our femaleness, I think going back to the heart and back to our relationship with who we've been made as, I think that's probably what needs to be tackled. So, it's not as simple as drawing a line between, men should wear pants, women should wear dresses, because I think culturally it's going to look different. Like Toby and I are in jeans, so it's not like there is a set dress that means I'm a woman and Toby's a man, but I think it's about embracing and not obscuring who God has made us to be. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, no, helpful. As I said, there were many other questions, particularly some on level votes, but top of the list wins. Not purely democratic. Sorry for that, but there are so many questions out there. A way to keep exploring it is, I know Toby and Liv are both more than open to continuing conversations.
Love to keep chatting.
And also, there's a bunch of books next to you as you head out the door that you can feel free to get, and that's also a great way to keep exploring and chat with each other.